We're both wearing black today, which I feel like has probably happened before.
Yeah, always black. I'm like, there's this old commercial in the '90s of Ronald McDonald going to his closet. Ronald McDonald, the McDonald's clown,
Mhm.
in case there's anybody who doesn't. But he goes to his closet, opens it, and it's just like a whole closet filled with the exact same outfit. And I feel like that's my life.
Yes. You wear
I
black.
very purposefully have curated
Yeah.
the.
Absolutely. Oh man. Okay, well today's post was unique because he wrote what is it? 21 quotes from all of his they're all from former blog articles that Seth has written. So we are
Mm,
not going to read the whole thing because frankly I've kind of gotten a little bored by us reading it every day. You can go to
okay.
sethgodin.com and read his blogs every day. But I thought if we wanted to both pick one that stuck out to us, and then if we could think of someone that we think is resilient, it doesn't have to be someone we know personally, it might be professionally, or maybe we can't think of anyone, and then there's a good conversation right there. Um, so yeah.
Well, you go first because confession, I have not read this yet.
Okay, it's okay. There's a lot of really good ones. Um, gosh, I feel like one that sticks out is number 17. The
Okay.
disciplined, resilient approach is to go your own speed, regardless of the incline. The disciplined, resilient approach is to go your own speed, regardless of the incline. So, just like a challenge to one, I guess, first get clarity on what does your own speed mean? And then for
Yeah.
me, it's like finding the balance in that of because I always want to go too fast. Like, if something doesn't work the first time, I just want to get up and move on, which is the opposite of resilience. But at the same time, I'm also very loyal. And I've stuck around in situations in my career so far for way too long out of thinking I was being and in hindsight, I don't know. Like that's why this conversation I think is so good because it's like, what is
Yeah.
resilience versus codependency
Yes.
versus boundaries. I mean, and I think that's why this conversation is go good because it's so good because there's really no right or wrong. Like, if there was, then I feel like everyone would just always be making full, confident, right decisions every single time. But um, yeah, so that one stuck out to me because I'm
Yeah.
trying to keep that top of mind as I start my business of number one, how do I stay hyper focused on the right things? And then secondly, there's some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many meetings and I'm already feeling burnt out. I'm like, I'm doing this to myself. Like, I'm in charge. This is my company. I get to choose. So there is no excuse. Whereas when you're in a full time role, you get to blame it on other people, your boss, your peer, your team, even whether it's their fault or not. And hot take, it's usually not their fault. It's usually your fault. So anyway,
Ayo.
like a little
Yeah.
spicy at 8:28 a.m. on this Monday morning.
No, that's great. And I think it's funny because, resilience is a positive take on, like you just mentioned. Like, what if it's just like pure ego driving someone and then they like brute force it through and we're like, oh, how resilient. It's like, you should see the wake of terrible relationships and broken, like,
Mhm.
like horrible conversations, broken relationships, broken family. It's like, but they're so resilient. It's like,
Mhm.
man, what an interesting take.
What if this just came to me as you were talking. What if resiliency is staying the course when external factors try to get you off course? Whereas, like what you're saying with ego or, um, lust or greed could be internal factors. So I think of
Mm.
when the first person when I texted you this morning, it was like, what if we talked about, who who's the most resilient person that we know? So the first person that came to my mind was actually Anna Baker, who's on my team at the Ready Network, because her daughter that got diagnosed with I always struggle to say this word, congenital heart disease when she was still in the womb. And so, and then like they've spent months and Emmy is 3, and they've spent months of her life in hospitals and lots of unknowns
Mm.
and all the things. And so to me, Anna is resilient because she still chooses a positive attitude. She's still the most like positive person that I know, despite all of that really hard stuff, right? And so to me, it's like that's resiliency is like she can't control any of that. It's all out of her hands, but she still chooses positivity, like working on herself, working on her marriage, working on herself as a mom, like all of the things. Like she tries to be the best version of herself no matter what. When like I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. I feel like I would just be like, I don't know. It so anyway, to me, that's what I thought of when I thought of resiliency.
Well, so yeah, before you hit record, I said, Holly, you challenged us to think of somebody, and I also the only person I thought of was someone who's gone through some pretty insane health stuff
Mhm.
and has maintained a positive attitude, has maintained to choose joy, um, and so it's interesting as people of faith. I feel like we probably would usually say like they're faithful, um, but yeah, it is a resilience, and yeah, it's so interesting that we both thought of health,
Mhm.
like pushing through, staying the course with health stuff when we're trying to stay in these like business lanes for
Mhm.
like business and entrepreneurship and uh, building product here. But man, yeah, both of our minds and probably our hearts go to people that we respect and are in awe of because of their fight with a family member's illness or their personal illness.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Well,
just you're right. It's
I think
interesting.
also too, we're fortunate to live in um like we're fortunate to live to like be people of privilege that live in a time in a country where like health really is the big disruptor. Like we have the money that we need to meet our needs. We have a roof over our heads. We have, like I
Yeah.
one of my clients works with an agency in Ukraine, and I woke up this morning listening to the news, hearing about the attacks on Ukraine, and like messaged them. I was like, "Are you guys okay?" Like we're not in a position
Mm.
right now where we have to wake up and think about, you know, being bombed. I mean, that's dramatic, but it's true. It hit me this morning, like thinking of these people who I communicate over Slack with every single day. Like literally this morning, I was like, "Are they alive?" Like, you know. And
Yeah.
so health really is the thing that I think in our world is the thing that we have to see people be resilient through because we have so much privilege around us. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, and as we're talking it out, I'm like, I'm just gonna follow every one of your leads. I'm like, yeah, we do. So I work for a global nonprofit, and we have team members in that region. We have team members in the Middle East, North Africa region that, is pretty. What's the right word? Turbulent, or
Mhm. Scary.
and so those people continuing to do the good work that they feel called to, and to continue to seek the mission despite like their countries going to war and all around them, and to see that as the opportunity to meet people in the mess and like, yeah. So maybe maybe in the busy of my to use your word, privileged morning, where my biggest qualm is that I'm 3 minutes late here or trying to rush kid off to camp. I appreciate you bringing me back to whether it's health or safety, um, for other contexts, taking me out of
Little bubble.
my own little bubble
Well,
here.
just watch Good Morning
Um,
America for 15 minutes every day, and you'll be reminded of, sometimes to the detriment of being like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. Let's turn it off. But
yeah, Oh, for sure.
But to bring it back to business, that is where I do struggle because I think a couple of years ago, I would have, like, I'm thinking of someone right now where I would have been like, man, they're so resilient. And now I'm like, maybe they're kind of crazy because they're like banging their head against the wall on something that's not working. And
Mm,
so, and that's, I think that's the question, right? That's the part that's so, it's like, what is just like relentless optimism and like, no matter what, you're going to believe that you're going to win and like just keep going. And what is stupidity? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if he does,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I mean, like any good, researcher, like any good high schooler, I went to find out what the definition is, just for our
Oh,
sake. Because I like how you started. That was a good way to say like maybe it's internal or versus external, or maybe there's something there. And so, quick definition of resilient is describes someone or something that can withstand or bounce back from challenges, stress, or adversity. It's about flexibility, strength, and the ability to keep going when things get tough. Um, that's thanks to Dia AI.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, adversity, stress, challenges. It does feel like it's like external factors more so than like the in psychology describing people who cope well with stress. In business, referring to companies that adapt to market changes.
Hearing
Just
that,
some other.
working moms, I feel like, I mean, and dads
Yeah.
too, but I feel like,
No.
yeah, I definitely have, I think I would have said like, yeah, I think I'm a pretty resilient person. And now I feel like being a working mom, it's like a next level where you have to like, your kid is sick and you like have to readjust all the things and still show up to a meeting as your best self and all like that is another level that I have had to tap into that is not easy and hard, and I see so many working moms around me every day trying to do the same thing, and that is resiliency.
Agreed. Shout out to all the working moms out there. I've experienced my wife lead an organization while also balancing the mental load. So our conversations often go to like, look, it's not even like necessarily the physical task of it. It's the mental being mom, uh, being wife, being CEO.
Yep.
And it's like, I feel like I get that, but I don't get that. Like, there's something that she has just as a mom that, yeah, it's another level of layers of things. And I try to be good dad, good husband, and all this, but yeah, there's something that she's up against that I don't experience exactly, and so that is true. I like this quote, and then maybe we can head towards landing the plane here, but it provided this. Resilience is not about, this is a quote from, and it's unfortunately not attributed, but resilience is not about avoiding the storm, but learning to dance in the rain, which is like a poetic and I think a good picture of like, yeah, pretty visceral picture there.
That is really good. All right, well, here's to resiliency on this Monday, and to all the people around the world who right now have to choose resilience because they have no other. That was the sermon yesterday at church. She said a really powerful quote that's kind of on this topic. She said, some of us live life where hope is optional, whereas people who are facing survival have no other option but to choose hope. And that's kind of back to
Mm,
what we were saying. Like, for some of us, resilience is optional because we do live kind of this like cushy life. Even when we face hard times, if we really dig deep and think about it, it's like, and then others, it's like all they have to choose. It like they have no other option but to choose resilience if they want to survive, you know? So that was a heavy one
that's good.
today. All right.
Choose
I'll
hope
let
today.
you so